Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have to dive right into some movie reviews because we've got a lot of first look people trying to sell you on a particular film. And while I personally have heard from a member of the audience just how good this film was for them, I am a little skeptical, not because they aren't reliable, but because a lot of the articles coming out are overtly positive in a way that I haven't seen in a long time. In fact, if you saw the thumbnail, you're like, wait a minute, best film in 6 years? Well, that's one of many headlines. There's a lot of things being repeated, which almost seem like talking points. Now, the embargo was dropped rather early, and I feel like it was done so for a reason. There's a lot aligning here, including some of the messaging that we really didn't want in here, and you're going to see that in the course of these reviews. But let's start first with our friend, Jordan Roomie over at World of Real, and what is going on today. Here we go. But before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I am trying to get to 50K. Because of you, we're getting very close, inside of 3,000 of you to subscribe yet. And many of you, about 60-ish%, are still not subscribed to the channel. So do me the small favor, it won't cost you a dime. Just go down below and click on the subscribe button. If you want to double check, make sure you're still subscribed, I'd appreciate that too. But click on the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell, turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. I do dozens of pieces of content each and every week, and I don't want you to miss anything. Plus, there's wonderful live streams, great comments in the chats, and you can be one of those as well. So hit the thumbs up button. Let's get into it because this is going to be interesting to say the least. Now, in a story, as I said, from Jordan Roomie over at World of Real, Hoppers is the best reviewed Pixar movie in 6 years. 77 on Metacritic. That is incredibly high. I don't doubt that this is high with critics. What I doubt is that it'll be sufficient to engage audiences again. Pixar has had massive misses recently, and so has Disney Studios Animation as well. A lot of people are concerned with that because they used to be the leaders in what a lot of people thought was good material. They haven't been in a long time. So much so that they're trying to claw back into sequels in order to get somebody to pay attention to what they're creating anymore. Like Toy Story 11, 12, 15? I don't know. But let's get into the article saying, hey, look at that. Pixar is back in critics' good graces with what might be the best reviewed movie since Soul or Turning Red. Turning Red was dog duty, and Soul was okay back in 2020. Now, Hoppers has a voice cast that includes John Hamm, Bobby Moynihan, and Piper Curda, who I believe plays the lead character, Mabel. And that animal-loving girl transfers her mind into a robot beaver to infiltrate the animal kingdom. It's a body swap comedy. In other words, it's Avatar, but animated with kind of an environmental message, at least from what I'm to gather. You'll gather that too in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. I've got an article on that one. But the review embargo has lifted on Hoppers, and the word is very positive. Maybe not golden age of Pixar worthy, but surely a major step for the studio, which has seen a lot of struggle of late. They've been on the struggle bus for a while, kind of like the majority of Disney, because they lost connection with their family-friendly audience because they stopped making family-friendly things, and it's pretty obvious by now. But the aggregates, which is important here, show that Hoppers has a 77 on Metacritic with 18 reviews so far, at least at the time of this recording, and 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And you'll get to see this film in 3 days. It comes out on the 6th. So you've got previous films that really super sucked. Onward, probably because of its timing in relation to the pandemic. Lightyear, which was awful and driven politically, more messaging. Luca, which had its own problems. Elemental, which was quite garbage. And Elio, which, was a major loser. Inside Out was way better than, I would have expected. And Inside Out 2 was an immense success. So they did rather well there. Can they come back? I don't know. Elio lost over $120 million in its heyday, and Hoppers, which is projected for about a $50 million opening weekend, could become Pixar's first original hit since 2017's Coco. Do I think that'll happen? No. Will it happen? Maybe. It doesn't really matter to me one way or another. It's just going to give me some indication on whether or not I can trust Pixar and Disney again. Except that I can't because I already know where we're headed, and you will too, because we're going to get into some of those stories. But I just feel disappointed because, well, that's what Disney does these days. It disappoints. Let's take a look at what Deadline has to say right now. Hoppers review, Pixar's quirky and caring romp is a funny, emotional love letter to the environment. Oh boy, that is not what I want to see. Maybe not what you want to see. The minute we get into a love letter to the environment, we just had a love letter to the anti-FA crowd, which is likely going to end up with somebody winning an Oscar that really doesn't deserve one. Again, it's the insurgent film of our time, and the Academy is going to reward its political messaging. Are they going to do the same with this here? If the critics are to be believed, I would guess so. But again, that's my perspective. You may disagree. Maybe you enjoyed this film. Some of you have seen it early. A couple people in the audience. And if you did, that's good. I'm going to go see it. I will tell you what I think of it and actually do a review on something, which I haven't done in a while, because I think, well, this one deserves it. We need to see if Pixar is on the right track, the wrong track, or on any track at all. Back to the article. First teased in a post-credits scene after 2025's space adventure Elio, which means nobody saw it, though the features don't really connect beyond that point. Pixar's latest animated movie, Hoppers, delivers equal parts of laughter and compassion, with a sprinkle of tearful, tear-jerking scenes, as the studio's narratives are known to do. In the vein of the Chris Sanders' Wild Robot, the film captures the overlap between aiming to help with technology and embracing nature and its processes. Well, okay, I can imagine that would be good. But I don't expect this movie to be good because, well, there's just too much praise and too many words being used in the same way. You're getting this kind of review from Variety, right? With Hopper's review, the delightful new Pixar film is out-of-the-box critter comedy that's like Bambi on crack. Well, yeah, sold, at least in San Francisco, maybe other parts in California. But the heroine becomes a beaver. And, well, that's a robot avatar. So we're to Avatar again. And of course it is an avatar naturally, but it's just, this is getting a little bit too on the nose, and that gets revealed in other reviews as well. But the power of Pixar right now, or any animation, seems to be in reference to Zootopia. The perky anthropomorphism is at the heart of the most animated films, especially these days. So when I say that the central character of the new Pixar movie Hoppers is a mouthy beaver named Mabel, voiced by Piper Curda, that may sound like the cuddly quintessence of animated business as usual. You could call Mabel an eager beaver, and you could also call her a righteous, testy, and impassioned, and wonderstruck. A lot of those adjectives aren't going to sell me right off the bat. I don't know about you. Maybe this is the kind of character you go looking for when you look for animated features. This might appeal to a family. I don't know. I don't expect so, but I expect to be surprised one way or the other when I go and see it this coming weekend. I don't know about you. Let me know if you intend to see this movie in the comments section down below. But we're not done because we have other places to look at. And we go to all the normal culprits because I think that's helpful and gives us kind of a place to take our balance from. For example, from Vulture. Pixar knows it's running out of ideas, and that's okay. Well, that doesn't sound like high praise, does it? Doesn't feel very high praise to me, but we'll continue on from Bilge Ebriri. Let's see, it says, this is nothing like Avatar, insists the defensive scientist who came up with the central conceit of Hoppers. Well, of course it is. It's exactly that. And it's going to be exactly that, and that's what you're going to take away from it. It's exactly what we were expected. In fact, if you were going to look at a synopsis of this, many of them will probably include the fact that this is exactly like an Avatar movie in almost every way. Is that surprising? No. Are they out of ideas? Yes. But I don't think it's fair for me to criticize the movie directly since I haven't seen it yet. But I'm going to take away everything they have to offer, even the critic scores that, well, I may get to argue with in just a few days. Hoppers is a reminder of how good and weird Pixar can be when it aims small. Now, that's not high praise. This is coming from AV Club, who gave the film a B rating, and it's the first Pixar movie from Daniel Chong. It's overcoming the studio's frequent flaws for some big laughs, and I'm not sure I can entirely agree with that, but again, I won't be able to do a review till I see it. What do you think? Do you think you're going to like this movie or not? Let me know in the comments section below. Regardless, this film is coming at you at high speed, and a lot of the praise that's out there sounds eerily similar. It's almost like the people giving the praise were given talking points, perhaps an advantage of having a coalesced group of people who are pretty much fans of everything Disney does is helpful. Maybe the people who get access to these things early is on board with this particular project, or it naturally hits some of the I guess, measures for them. But what I don't want is messaging in my movies. And if this has messaging, I'm going to tell you about it. And if you see it in there, if you go and see it for yourself, let me know your thoughts on that. I just want to get back to the original article because I think it speaks volumes for what's going on and why I think that people are, well, bending over backwards to give it a lot of praise. And I have to come back to here. The aggregate show that Hoppers is a 77 on Metacritic. It's only got 18 reviews. That's not very many. In fact, it's often unreliable to look at just one site. You might want to go take a look at Critic lists or Metacritic or all of these things and kind of combine them to get a better idea. 18 reviews, that's too few. And 98% on Rotten Tomatoes suggests to me not enough people have seen it yet. All I know is that of the last 6 films that Disney has released through their Pixar brand, none of them have been acceptable at the box office, at least not according to the audiences. And it's not really been directed in a quality way towards family. I think obviously Inside Out may be the exception to that, possibly Onward if you saw that like I did. In fact, it was one of the first videos I think I reviewed, one of the first movies I reviewed here on this channel just about 5-6 years ago. So you can probably find it still. Regardless, Inside Out 2 was an immense success. That's right. Pixar did really well with that one. They stuck to a formula. They pulled out a lot of woke stuff right there at the end, and that changed the outcome. The question is, did they put the woke back in this one, and will it earn something similar? $1.7 billion is an awful lot of money. Suffice it to say that this is where we're at in time. We don't really know what to expect from Disney, especially Pixar, or pretty much any of their brands these days. They've all been polluted with a lot of, well, ultra progressive messaging that is led them to kind of a doldrums era, I would call it. So going from 2020 to now, 2026, where do you think we're headed? Do you think we're going to get back to high quality films that everybody can enjoy, especially the kids? Or do you think we're going to continue to venture down a rabbit hole that has been not very profitable for Disney? Will Inside Out 2 be the film that is pointed to as the exception to a very recent rule that doesn't seem to be violated? Or are we going to be able to highly praise Hoppers as a masterpiece of its time? Hopefully Daniel Chong put together something worth watching. And again, I'll give you my thoughts on the movie after the weekend. On that note, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you have any differences of opinion, let me know. If you've seen the movie, let me know. And as I said before, if you are going to see the movie, let me know. I really want to kind of keep track of this because I'm going to do an informal poll in my review. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Maybe even at Hoppers.